Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again and I've resisted it as long as I can, but I can't resist it any longer. It's time for Loot the Pathfinder today. I know a lot of people have issues around loot being the new sort of like face of magic. I keep hearing podcasts talk about it and all the rest of it, but I think all three versions of loot so far have been fairly good, and I don't think the one from Ether Drift's any exception. So, 2 green, blue and red for a 2/4 Beast Noble. Double strike, vigilance, and haste. Okay, yep, I'm definitely happy with that. And then it has 3 exhaust abilities, this version of loot. So exhaust, if you don't know, you pay whatever the mana cost is. You can only do that once while the card's in play, and then it's exhausted. So you can only do each of these abilities once. But obviously, there's ways around it. So the first one is a green and a tap, and you get 3 mana of any one colour. You can do blue and tap and draw 3, or you can do red and tap and loot deals 3 damage to any target. So extra mana to cast things with, extra cards to draw if we've got stuck, or just lightning bolt something you don't like the look of. Where can you go wrong? You really can't with loot, and today's video is all about how we're going to play them. So here we go. Here's what today's video is all about. So one of the cheaper things, I've ranked this on bracket 3 at the moment. I don't think it's a 4, but I think a 3 is the right bracket for this at the moment, because I'll probably talk about the brackets in another video at some stage. But Goldfish, MTG Goldfish has now implemented the bracket system, so it's here. But yeah, we'll go with a 3 for this one today. I don't think it's much more than that, but we'll see. Anyway, creatures. At the beginning, Elvish Mystic, Lanois Elves to help us ramp. Then we have Stampeding Scurryfoot. I've got most of the exhaust creatures in here, just so aware, from the main set. I don't think there's one, I think, that I remember being in one of the commander decks, but most of these are coming in for the main set. So the Scurryfoot, 1 for a 1/1, and then you can pay 4 at any stage, per +1/+1 counter and get a 3/3. Yep, I'll cope with that. So it's 3/3 elephant if it makes you feel any better. Bloom Tenderer for the mana ramp. And then Green Pelt Guardian comes in as well. I like this because it chucks around Trample quite happily for 1 green mana. It's a 2/2 for 2, so I like that. The exhaust is quite nice though. 4 mana becomes a 5/5, so it's an expensive, well, 6 mana 5/5 basically. But I think the ability to chuck around Trample is really going to help. Kinnan the Bonder Prodigy is also here to help us get that extra mana and get the cards we need. Pit Automaton comes in to give us a couple of mana to help with our activated abilities. I am looking at you, the exhaust things that need it. Redshift Rocketeer Chief, I quite like this one. I might look at this one as a pure commander deck on its own. But yeah, tap to add X of any mana card of 1 mana's colour. Spend this mana to activate abilities. That's fine. But the great thing about this, his exhaust ability is 10 red and green. You can put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Now in this deck it's going to be a little bit slow. It's just another way of giving us mana to activate exhaust abilities. But in a future deck, I've got some plans. Sitter Varma is also in. The Masked Racer comes in. Another one that I'm looking at for the future as well. Mainly because of the X plus, you can exhaust this one, put X +1/+1 counters on Zitter, and then you may have the base power and toughness of each other creature you control become equal to Zitter Varma's power until the end of turn. Yeah, okay then. Fine. Serpent Seeker comes in, do the exhaust, reveal 2 land cards from top of our library and put them onto the battlefield eventually, and the rest goes in the graveyard, and we get put a +1/+1 counter on here. Skybreak Engineer, I just like this. I don't know why. It's a common. It's not the greatest one in the world. You can exhaust it, put a couple of +1/+1 counters on it. But if you do that, it gives you a 3/5 flyer in the air. We don't have to do it immediately, but it's also a 1/3 flyer, which is going to stop a lot of the Thopter tokens I think you're going to see in Commander going forward. Adrenaline Junkie's in as well. Whenever you a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, this creature deals 4 damage to them. Yep, like that. A bit of protection from counter spells from people doing that sort of thing. And whenever you activate an exhaust ability, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Yep, good. Carry on. Etherburner Expert comes in as well. Or Afterburner Expert, sorry. I think they missed a trick not calling it the Etherburner Expert. But anyway. You can exhaust this, but then whenever you activate an exhaust ability, you can return this card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Not tap, just return it to the graveyard. With the amount of exhaust abilities and the triggers you can do with our friend Loot up here, yeah, you should always be able to have this come back unless it gets exiled. Boom Scholar comes in as well. Cuts down the cost of our exhaust abilities quite happily, of other permanents anyway. And then this one does the whole 4 green and red to give creatures and vehicles we control +1/+1 trample until the end turn. You get to chuck a couple of +1/+1 counters on here, but the trample could help. Camera launcher comes in as well. Get to do a +1/+1 counter on this creature and get a Thopter. That's fine. Cope with that. Elvish Refueler. During your turn, as long as you haven't activated exhaust ability this turn, you may activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. Right, okay. So basically with this in play, you can do loot to exhaust it to draw 2 cards, go to your next turn, do loot exhaust to draw 3 cards again. Yeah, sorry, 3, not 2. But yeah, okay then. Eternal Witness, just get things back from our graveyard. And then we've got a few gods coming, so I thought I haven't played them for a while, so I figured they might as well sit here, hence why I think this is a power level 3. Clothos is first to get the extra mana or the life and the damage. Then we've got loot from Foundations coming in to drop some extra lands and then look at the top 6 when we can get there. And the other loot coming in as well. Ward 1, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile top X cards to your library, where X is the number of card types amongst other non-land permanents you control. You can play them this turn. Yeah, we like loot the key to everything. Pima Trailblazer is the only other exhaust creature I could think of that came in from the new command sets. Not much energy support in here, but if we get there, all well and good. Shardless Agent for a bit of cascading fun. And then Arashmi and Ragavan. Whenever we cast our first spell, we exile someone else's one and get a treasure token, and then we can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if the spell's mana value is less than or equal to the number of artifacts we control. If not, we can just cast it. Yeah, okay then. Still seems like a good one to have in the deck. Sabotage Strategist does the whole exhaust thing to get a bit bigger, but it makes all the creatures attacking us a little bit smaller. Thassa Deep Dwelling, so we can loot. No, let's do that properly. Blink, loot the Pathfinder in and out all the time to keep the exhaust abilities going. Kranos is here as well, just to give us that extra bit of draw a land, get another card, or do 3 damage to any target creature or player. Yeah, okay. Then Ojek Haslam had to be here. I want to hit that land and creature to get extra things into play. We have all 3 of the Overlords in from Duskmourn. So the Flood Pits is here for the card and for the draw and discard. The Hauntwoods for those lovely everywhere land tokens. And then obviously Overlord of the Boiler Barges to do the whole damage when we attack. The last 2 cards, Sabsuin Luxa Embodied. Yeah, might be falling in love with this card. If you haven't seen it, there's a stream replay up. I went up a few days ago of me playing a Commander game where basically the whole night was basically us playing Sabsuin. 1 game, fantastic. Go watch it. It's good. And then finally, Seedborn Muse, because I do want to untap everything and keep things going. Spells wise, we have a little bit of Essence Flux to exile loot in and out if we need to, so we can activate the exhaust abilities again. Vandal Blast to take care of all those annoying artifacts, along with Cyclonic Rift to control the board. Ramp with Growth, Farseek and Growth Spiral to start off with. We've also got Nature's Law, Open the Way, 3 visits in here. Heroic Intervention keeps everything alive while we're doing things. And then Call to Calling, just so we can go and search out something that will help at any stage. And Genesis Wave, because I'm still in love with Genesis Wave. Ghostly Flicker does the whole exiling 2 thing, so loot and something else to get the triggers again, or we want to do another one of the exhaust abilities. Jessica's Will for the mana and the cards we get. Genesis Ultimatum. Yeah, let's exile the top 5. Look at the top 5, put all the permanents into play and the rest into our hand. 7 mana. Gotta do it with these colours when loot, haven't you? And then more board control with Blasphemous Act. Unusually for me, we have, because even though it's a green deck, I have gone heavy on the artifact ramp, and I'm not making any apologies for it. It's not something I do very often, but I felt this deck needed it. So we've got Chrome Mox Amber, because we do have a lot of legendaries. Mox Tantalites in, and then we've got Elixir of Immortality to shuffle everything back in when it goes pear-shaped. The Boots to give a little bit of ward to the Pathfinder, if we need it to. Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Fellwell Stone for more ramp. Ranger's Refueler is worth talking about though. Whenever we activate an exhaust ability, we get to draw cards. That's nice. And we can turn this into an artifact creature if we need to, but you're probably better off just leaving it on the board to draw the cards when you do all the exhausting. So, yay. Rocketeer Boost Buggy is an exception to that though. You want to exhaust this as soon as you can to start hitting and getting treasure tokens. If it means doing this on turn 2 and taking turn 3 off from doing anything else and exhausting this to get the vehicle on the go, so be it. We want the treasures to help us ramp and get things going. The boots are here as well to provide a bit more protection for loot, and then each of the talismans are here. Ranger's Ether Hive was a bit of a no-brainer. It's a vehicle that sits there and does nothing. It's a 3/5 with vigilance, but, and it is a big but, whenever we do an exhaust ability, we do get a 1/1 Thopter, so it's well worth having in this deck. And then finally, I wanted lots of copies of loot in play. I thought about several ways of doing it, but yeah, Helm of the Host. Let's do it. Let's see if we can have some fun. Just one enchantment in the deck. Bit of a no-brainer. Every green deck in Commander should play Guardian Project. It's something I've got to remember to put in my green decks going forward because I do often forget. But yeah, just playing non-token creatures, getting those copies, getting those extra card draws, sorry. Let's do it. Lands, blue, green and red lands all the way through. 4 of each basic. A couple of cards will let us draw like the Archer Orizansa and Mikoko Sea, Centre of the Sea. They're all here. Everything else, red and green, sack lions, dual lands, you name it, they're here. And obviously the cycling land, wherever it's gone, is here somewhere. But I can't remember that. It's Kemetra Triome is also here. And that's it. That's my take on loot. Yeah, I couldn't resist any longer. I tried to hold off doing it. It was going to be the last video I did, but nah, we'll get it done now. And loot's here. I'm looking forward to playing loot. There's a link down below in the description to my Twitch channel. You can come and see me play the decks on there when I'm streaming. Go and subscribe there. I'd love it if you haven't subscribed here already on the YouTube channel to subscribe as well. That would help me out no end. 610 of you are here at the moment. I seem to go 611, 610, 611, 610. So a few of you can get me past that little bump in the road. I'd really appreciate it. But if there's any cards you think I've missed out, let me know in the comments down below. I do read every comment. I try to respond to every comment when I can. And yeah, I think loot's going to be some fun to play. So for now, take care, have fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.